The world of Rapture was home to many horrors, but the main one is the Big Daddy, or the Protector, and lovingly called Mr. Bubbles or Mr. B by their little sisters. They are genetically enhanced human beings who have had their skin and organs surgically grafted into the gigantic diving suits you see. However, when they were introduced as the Alpha series, this was an exception to the grafting process, though they were still heavily spliced. Their main purpose in the world of Rapture is to protect the little sisters while they escort them around the winding tunnels of the underwater world. Without their little sisters, the Big Daddies will wander aimlessly, frustrated, looking for those they had been charged to protect. The initial Alpha series Big Daddies can communicate with low grunts and roars. However, everything aside from that, the Big Daddies communicate by sounds similar to that of a whale, eerily haunting the halls of Rapture. And as you may have seen, the Big Daddies have a bioluminescent chemical substance which fills the helmet. This can display its state of emotion or its mindset. There are three main different colors the Big Daddy will display. Green, indicating the Big Daddy is hypnotized and friendly. Yellow, this indicates an awareness but indifference to the environment the Big Daddy is within. However, he will react to people near him by shoving them. And if the Big Daddy has a little sister with him and you step too close, the Big Daddy will become enraged in order to protect that little sister. And red, this of course indicates rage towards any nearby. And those Alpha series that survived long into the future are now in a permanent state of rage. This is of course due to the prolonged separation from their little sisters. The history of the Big Daddies is a long one, and as old as Rapture itself. They were originally created by Dr. Yi Sushong to serve as Rapture's maintenance workers, to help, of course, in later construction projects and to do the menial work of Rapture that was not profitable. The Rosies riveted panels and windows, while the Bouncers drilled deep-sea rocks for expansion of the city. When the demand for Adam increased and it could not be met from the method used with the available little sisters, Sushong proposed that recycling raw genetic material directly from corpses would be a viable source for Adam. This of course posed a great risk to the little sisters as they were on the streets gathering Adam on their own. The Adam-obsessed splicers would wish to bring them harm and steal the Adam, and thus the Protector program was initiated to bond the little sisters to the hulking, gigantic Big Daddies. This repurposed the Big Daddies into protectors rather than workers. They would respond aggressively to any threat encountered by the little sisters. Sushong suggested this idea to Andrew Ryan, knowing full well that becoming a Big Daddy was a one-way street. However, his main concern was how to find suitable candidates. Andrew Ryan, being the conniving, deceptive, devious man that he was, gave assurance that it would not be a problem. Now, the true identities of these candidates were never known. Many were exiled criminals, the criminally insane, and of course, political dissidents imprisoned in Persephone. The experiments were conducted by Dr. Gilbert Alexander in the research laboratories of Fontaine Futuristics. The first Protector prototypes bonded to little sisters were called the Alpha series. Alexander would take inspiration from a common nickname for the Protector program candidates and titled them the Big Daddies. He engineered a conditioned bond between the Protectors and their charges, which would mimic, through mental and physical restraints, the emotional bond between a father and his daughter, the pair bond. This bond ensured that the Protectors would guard their charges at all times and not wander away from the girls. Otherwise, they would slip into a coma. Outside of the bond, the Alpha series' life depended on the protection of the Little Sisters. After many unsuccessful attempts, the first candidate from the Protector program, which would indeed be successfully pair-bonded, was Subject Delta. He was a deep-sea diver formerly known as Johnny Topside, who had discovered and entered the city completely by accident. In a short time, the Alpha series failed to be practical as protectors. They only protected a singular, specific Little Sister. And if they were lost to splicers or rescued by Dr. Bridget Tenenbaum, they rendered the protectors useless, sending them into a coma or making them suicidally aggressive. And even after being reprogrammed, they were only usable as foot soldiers. As the Alpha series proved to be a failure, the remaining Alpha models were deactivated, and in the following years they were kept in holding at Fontaine Futuristics. As the world of Rapture descended into chaos with civil war, Sushong attempted genetic bonding as a method for the Protector program. This, however, proved a failure, as the Big Daddies kept ignoring the Little Sisters. The solution became evident. The Big Daddies would care for the Little Sisters when they provided raw Adam for them to survive. A bouncer known as Elizabeth bonded this way to two Little Sisters in Sushong's laboratory. However, Sushong failed to notice this bond, and as he slapped one of the Little Sisters out of frustration, this triggered an aggressive response in Elizabeth, the bouncer. Elizabeth then went on to impale Sushong with his drill to the scientist's own desk. The bond had worked at the cost of Sushong's life. The Protector program continued, and breakthroughs led to the bonding of a bouncer and Rosie Big Daddies to Little Sisters, where pheromones were used to make the girls attracted to the Big Daddies and to not be afraid of them as they had been previously. Now, the bonding system was working. The pairs were deployed into the public spaces of Rapture, and the Memorial Museum at Point Prometheus was changed to the Proving Grounds. This was used for Big Daddy training, and as the Big Daddies and Little Sisters were sent out into the streets of Rapture, the citizens responded to them in varying ways. Many were met with disgust. The Big Daddies' intimidating appearance and aggressive conditioning caused fear among the populace, and this resulted in several unfortunate accidents. Confrontations with splicers and well-meaning citizens prompted Andrew Ryan to broadcast a public service announcement to warn against approaching the Big Daddies and the Little Sisters at the risk of your life. Ryan tried to combat public dislike for the Protector program by having the Big Daddies described as knights in shining armor. They were created to protect Rapture against the parasites. As the violence on the streets became more extreme, elite versions of the Bouncers and Rosies were created to help defend Little Sisters in the more dangerous areas of the city. Ryan would even commission a third model of the Protector to be created by Rapture's central computing, using the help of the Thinker. The Lancer was born. This was considered to be the most advanced Big Daddy so far. He was created along with the new ion laser weapon. Despite the new Protector being finished, it was never sent out into Rapture. Minerva's den was sealed off and the entire facility from the rest of Rapture. As the Big Daddies were created, they must undergo a conditioning process. From the time of its founding, the maintenance of Rapture required trained divers in reinforced suits to walk outside along the sea floor to repair leaks and of course reinforce the city structure. By the time of the Protector program's tests, certain former citizens of Rapture had already been genetically altered with Adam and permanently sealed inside these special diving suits to become what were eventually called Big Daddies. These were genetically modified and conditioned in the research labs and facilities of Point Prometheus. The Protector training was eventually done in the Proving Grounds. The candidates for induction into the Protector program went through voice box modification and pheromone application. The latter would attract the Little Sisters to the Big Daddies and ensure they had no fear. After those, the candidates' skin and organs were grafted and integrated into the very suit they wear. This would become one functional unit. The subjects were then placed in large vats of an unknown yellow substance, and eventually reduced to mindless servants. Through the genetic splicing, the humans inside of these heavy, hulking suits attained an enhanced strength and agility unlike any human. Their suits were an exoskeleton, and it contained a life support machinery needed to help them stay alive during their duties, to allow Big Daddy to lift heavy weights and do other strenuous tasks. This helped resist the cold and the pressure of the deep, deep ocean. Throughout the games of Bioshock, Bioshock 2, and of course Burial at Sea, Big Daddies can be seen doing maintenance repairs, both inside and outside in the ocean. The Big Daddies were also programmed to periodically return to facilities like Hephaestus for routine maintenance and checkups. As mentioned, the Big Daddy program featured multiple protectors and multiple versions. There are in fact 5 main types of Big Daddy protectors, including the 2 elite versions for only the Bouncer and the Rosie. Perhaps the most iconic is the Bouncer Big Daddy. The Bouncers are clad in a very distinct heavy diving suit, the entire torso of which is covered by a thick metal carapace. The head protrudes directly forward from the upper chest area and is encased in a hemispherical helmet studded with 8 lit portholes. The Bouncer Big Daddy utilizes a fully functional drill, which is attached to the right arm just forward of the elbow. The Rosie Big Daddy or Protector is perhaps the second widest known. The Rosies are clad in very basic, heavy, flexible diving fabric, the upper torso of which is covered by a high gauge metal carapace. The head is guarded by a thick metal diving helmet, which is welded to the torso carapace and has 3 large lit portholes. The Rosies wield rivet guns and proximity mines, which they use at long range. We have the Rumbler, which is the newest type of Big Daddy, and it featured heavily in Bioshock 2. This was designed by Gilbert Alexander. The Rumbler uses mini turrets and a shoulder-mounted RPG that shoots non-guided rockets. And of course, we have the Alpha series. This is the failed Protector series. They have long since lost their little sisters and have evolved into something vaguely like a splicer. They are barely sentient, they are monstrous, and they will attack anything near them. Interestingly enough, one of the main questions when researching the Big Daddy is, what does a Big Daddy look like outside of the suit? Of course, this is something that will never be seen, because without the suit, the Big Daddy would die. They are surgically altered, they are grafted to the suit, and as such, they are one and the same. Without the suit, the Big Daddy would not be a Big Daddy. But what did you guys think of the Big Daddies in Bioshock? To me, they represented something of a really, really smart move in the Bioshock series. They introduced something which was truly quite scary, quite monstrous, and something which, when you are walking through the winding streets of Rapture, you do not want to come across. However, when in actuality they are merely a man in a suit, which is really, really quite a testament to the designers of the world of Bioshock and Rapture. Really, really smart and clever design. But guys, let me know all your thoughts on the Bioshock Big Daddies. I will do a few videos here and there in the world of Bioshock, so if you're new to this channel and you want to stay up to date on that, then please do hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and a share, as that really helps me out. Guys, I've been Mr. H, and I will catch you in the next video.